What's up? Welcome to another Stab and Gab. I did want to film when we had any shrapnel of daylight left in the air, but then Stinky fell asleep on my lap, so I couldn't get up until the sunset. Here we are. We're doing another Stab and Gab. Shocker! I'm working on this beanie. Okay, sorry. Look at how cute. It's looks small, but it's stretchy. Am I sick again? Yeah. That seems to be the running theme now with me. Health is a privilege and one I take for granted too often. Before we begin, let's have a word from our sponsor, Michael's Craft Store. They're not actually sponsoring me, don't sue me. Who has supplied my yarn addiction for the last 2 months of me pretending I can make a million Christmas presents before Christmas when I didn't start them until like late November. I want to say none of these are ethically sourced. These are all made with unethical labor practices. My knuckles are crippling. Let's take a gander at all the books that we've read in the month of November. Starting off week with Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Let me find the author's name so I can talk trash correctly. I may be a hater, but I'm an informed hater by Maria Semple. Girl, what are we doing? What was that? Why? Who? To market it as some, like, beautiful love story between a mother and a daughter, and then that's what we got? Have you ever met a mother-daughter duo? Where did my time go reading that? Why did I spend so much time reading that? I did start skipping sections. If we're gonna be honest, I know I said I'm an informed hater, but there were some things that I did not feel I needed to be informed on. There were some things in the book that did not feel like information that was relevant to me. We got a whole, like, captain's log. I'm gonna talk my shit. If you hear a spoiler, that's your fault. A whole analog of the captain's log of what Bernadette did on the cruise ship while she was on there. I didn't need to know that. It was a lot of pages of just, like, Bernadette's life on the ship told through, like, a police report. Girl, could we find a more boring way to convey information? Like, holy shit. If it's important to me, I'll find out about it later. And it was referenced by Little B. Again, spoiler content warning. When she went on the ship, she tried to, like, retrace her mother's steps using that log. But I didn't need to read it twice. Okay? I just didn't. Because B talks about it enough for the both of us. Okay? No part of me needed to read it twice. It was unnecessary. And also, everyone sucked. If this was a Reddit post, it would definitely be an everyone sucks here. Does B suck? Well, she's like 12. You know, does she really have the brain capacity? Does every 12-year-old not suck? They all kind of suck. A little. But most of them grow out of it. It's fine. Unless they're a character in this book. Everyone sucked. I've yapped for too long about this. I need to move on. I hated this book. I also read then on Libby, History is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I'm just, like, I realized this earlier, but, like, looking at it again, he also wrote They Both Die at the End, and these two covers are almost identical. Let me just tell you, these two books have nothing to do with each other, but they have the same, like, color scheme. They both show a moon, and they both have a silhouette of two boys. Okay, I've had enough. So, the book has these two main characters, Theo and Griffin, I think, and the ages never really made sense to me. I was always confused about how old everyone was in this book, because, like, spoilers, also this book is, like, a decade old, so, like, is it really still a spoiler? You've had 10 years to read it. Theo and Griffin are, like, in high school together, and then Theo, right? Yeah, Theo, I think he gets, like, early admittance to a Californian college, so he, like, leaves to California and they break up or whatever, and then he starts dating this boy in the college. So, like, I'm just really not sure if everyone is acting legally. Hey, what do I know? What do I know? I'm just a girl who's really bad at math. Anyways, despite that, it also kind of sucked a little. I'm sorry, okay? It just was super predictable and also, like, sucky. It just kind of sucked. Like, nobody was fun. Again, everyone sucks. And I know grief is a bitch. but it also was just like such a weird plot that it didn't make you feel bad for anyone. Like, Theo and Griffin had a super inappropriate relationship while Theo was actively dating someone else who looks almost exactly like Griffin. And then Griffin started hooking up with his best friend and didn't tell anyone. And then, like, crushed his heart by being a dick because he was so torn up over Theo because he never really moved on from Theo. And so, like, they broke up before Theo left, but then, like, they were also still in love with each other, but they also kept like dating and hooking up with and like being with other people. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, you just kind of suck. And once again, I'll extend my everyone sucks at 12 to everyone just kind of sucks when they're a teenager. Being a teenager is the worst thing to ever happen to everyone. So like, yeah, they suck and they're grieving. And also they sucked when they were alive. Also, again, giant spoiler, Griffin hooked up with the guy that Theo was dating that looked just like Griffin. Hello, narcissist. Jesus. So I read the book and like, yeah, gay rights. And also like, it was just kind of to me, what are we doing? Could we have a better gay rights? Better gay rights? It can be gay and sad. That's fine. Most gays are. But it can be gay, sad, and good. Following that gay, sad book came another gay, sad book that I also did not care for. This one was called Release by Patrick Ness, who's the guy that wrote The Monster Calls, which has been super hyped. And it was alright. I liked the pictures. That one had an interesting twist. This one, maybe I should have paid more attention to it, but it also was just like, I don't even remember the main character's name, but he kind of sucked. Well, not like really. He was just boring. He was like gay. That was his whole personality, was he was gay, and his dad was homophobic. And then there was a whole B plot of this woman who was like murdered by her boyfriend because of drugs. And then she comes back as like this super powerful ancient lake lady spirit, and she's followed around by a fawn. The mythical kind, not the baby deer, which I did think it was the baby deer at first, but they're spelled differently, and I didn't know that. The B plot was super weird. Like, the ghost was going around to her friends and family and like making them, I don't know, like confess to her how they failed her and like whatever. She would like forgive them. Spoilers! Oh my god, it's a spoiler. They come together at the end because what's his name has been carrying around a red rose literally all day. Also, this takes place in the span of a day. Too much happened in one day. Let's be real. They come together at the end of the day, and he gives her the rose, and she's free. I did reference that in my book picture, which turned out Gorgina, by the way. So if you haven't seen it, go look at it. That one to me was more of like a, okay, gay kid, homophobic father. Duh, we know. Name one gay kid that doesn't have a homophobic father. At least, like, make it creative, make them interesting. I get the creativity aspect of the lake lady, but it just felt so oil and water. Like, it just felt so completely different, and it did not seem to mix at all until, like, the end, when you, like, stick a fork in it and you, like, mix it up real good. Just, what did the two things have to do with each other? Nothing. Following that mishap, that 3 strikes, I finally hit a home run. I read Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. If you want like a more like in-depth review, it was part of the Indigenous Peoples Month video that I did. That was my nonfiction pick for that month, and it was stunning, gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful, amazing, perfect. No notes. The audiobook, chef's kiss. Robin has the most soothing voice on planet Earth. I will listen to that every night to put me to sleep because it's so soothing and calming and wonderful and beautiful. What more can I say? Following that, I read Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, which is about his life growing up in an apartheid in South Africa, where it was illegal to be mixed race. It was illegal for black men to sleep with white women and black women to sleep with white men. So like a white man getting caught sleeping with a black woman just essentially got like a slap on the wrist, but like a black man getting caught sleeping with a white woman was like arrested and stuff and like accused of rape and all that, because white men have autonomy and white women are just objects. All women essentially, but it's crazy. Also crazy that you're gonna go colonize a continent and try to like make it illegal to have relations with the people that already live there. I wish you had 2 brain cells to rub together. Come on. It was about his life growing up there and being like the only mixed race kid in the world. It felt like, and how like he was treated so differently by his family and his classmates and everything, and like, essentially being too white to be black, but too black to be white, being able to sometimes jump between races and to be considered white in some cases, but knowing that he was black in other cases. Really, it was about him and his mother, honestly. Like, she was the main focus of, like, almost everything in the book. It all came back to his mother. Overall, pretty good. My biggest critique is that there was an extremely graphic scene of animal abuse against cats. There was other abuse that happened. There was also very graphic human abuse, but I do feel like we are a lot more desensitized to gun violence, especially against women and other people. We've had more mass shootings than we've had days in this year. I don't feel like it had to be that graphic, but also, like, it's not my story to tell. So, just a general trigger warning. I digress. Okay, I lumped all 4 of these together because it was part of a series, but while I was doing my ebook reading and audiobook reading, I was also physically reading a book series, which was chosen for me by my tarot cards, which was a super fun Halloween video that I did. And if you're watching it and you had a problem with tarot cards, at least leave a hate comment. Okay? Give me some engagement. Anyways, it was called Illusion by Zoe Parker. The entire series was called Facets of Fairies, which, if you watch the tarot video, I called it Facts of Fairies, because despite all this, I never learned how to read. That book, that whole series was it well written? Was it a good time? Yeah. Did I have a good time? Yeah, I did. I really liked the main character, both main characters really, but especially, I don't know her name. Phoebe was the guy. I don't think her name is in here. I did forget. I will never remember a character's name, probably ever in my life. Once in a blue moon will I remember a character's name. Anyways, she was a badass. I remember that. I remember she was cool as fuck, and I really liked her. I liked her personality a lot. Spoiler, I'm going to just give a tiny spoiler here. She is part dragon, which I think is what I like about her so much, because I too feel like a little dragon crow lives in my brain. So I really felt that relation to having hordes and a fierce protectiveness of children and deep-seated divine feminine rage. Anyways, I really liked the characters. Could it have been, given another rounds of editing? Absolutely. But it was a good time. And that's all we're here for. It's a good time. Not a long time. So, those 4 books, really good. Thank you, tarot cards. This is why we bless them, people. We're not just doing this willy-nilly. Following those, I was zooming through them as fast as I could to get to reading the other books I picked out for Indigenous Peoples Month. I read A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcy Little Badger. That one was so fun and cute and whimsical. Again, full review is in Indigenous Peoples Month video. All I'll say is adorable. I can't wait to read it again and again and again and again. After that, I finished up a book called Feed by Mia Grant, which is part of like a zombie series called Newsflash. It was a little tricky to find it through the library, because here's the thing about me. I physically cannot bring myself to read a mass market paperback. I don't care if you put a supernova of a book in there. If it's in the format of a mass market paperback, I'm not going to fucking read it. I'm sorry. You could put my favorite book on earth in a mass market paperback. I'm not going to read it. You could put texts from my loving husband in a mass market paperback. Here's every text he's ever sent you, confessing how much he loves you and how wonderful you are to him. I can't read it. I can't. I'm just not going to happen. So I had to find it through audio, through Libby. Typing in Newsflash. Pro tip, if you're looking for it. I will never ever claim to be a zombie person. It's just not my favorite genre of dystopian fantasy creature mythology. Because to me, if the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm not living through a zombie apocalypse. If something can die and come back to life, what's the point? What are we doing here? There's no defeating death. So when death reincarnates, you can't win. So I'm just not gonna do that. I'm gonna self-check out of that one if that happens. So I just don't really like reading about zombies. And this is a minor critique. I've only heard this take once, and it's kind of a hot take, but it it does kind of make sense of like, David, I'm so sorry. Zombie propaganda, if you will, gives way to thinking of a class of people as less than human. And yeah, too woke friend, but like also not entirely wrong to consider like, oh, this person is less than human. Yeah, because they're a zombie, but also like it desensitizes you to considering that and thinking about their humanity.
Hi, it's your editor in chief, Madly. I just want to jump in here and add some more pieces of information to this theory that I am talking about because I think it was done really well when I saw it, and I don't feel like I explained it super well. But I do want to just like reiterate in the terms of us being desensitized to considering somebody as not human anymore. Like, yes, they're a zombie, but also like they didn't choose to be a zombie. Like, nobody chose to be infected as a zombie, and so the zombie kind of propaganda insinuates that like we can treat someone as less than human because of something that they didn't choose, something that was happened to them, as opposed to like an active choice that someone made to be a terrible person. That's just another little tidbit I wanted to throw in there because I don't feel like I was making a ton of sense. Anyways, I hate zombies. Sorry. Back to your regularly scheduled program.
Whoa, I'm sorry. Whoa. Whoa. Too woke. Anyways, I heard that on TikTok once and it's just stuck with me because I'm already a zombie hater. Anyways, this book was not bad considering everything. There was not a lot of zombies in it compared to what I expected, for sure. The main character. Oh, everyone had the same freaking name. Sorry. There was Georgia Mason and Georgette Maisonier. You are an author. You are making this up. You can give these people any kind of name you want. You don't have to give two people the exact same name. Georgia and her brother Sean and their tech guru, Georgette, who goes by Buffy, they get recruited to do press coverage for a presidential candidate. It's like, this book came out, I think, right before the 2016 election. So the candidate that they're covering is a Republican, whatever that means in this dystopian world. So still like pretty conservative, but like in a different way. Like a lot of things are different in context now that like zombies exist. It was shell shocking to hear politics that was not so. I just pictured that meme of the like war veteran with the really the eyes and the like the bombs dropping. That's what happened to me in that moment. In a time when journalists failed the public because of the way the outbreak happened, also trippy comparatively to how COVID happened. Bloggers became the most reliable source of news. Presidential candidate wanted bloggers on his team to report truth. Less zombies, good. More politics, though, bad. Not for me. I don't love politics. I get enough of it in my day-to-day life, and it's terrible. That book was also pretty good. It was getting 4 stars until another spoiler, a very graphic scene of cat murder in front of stinkybutt. Get out. They got a full star knocked for that one. The cat didn't need to die. Finally, to wrap November, I read Never Whistle at Night, which was a dark indigenous anthology. Super fun, cool, amazing, creative, horrific in like a horror way, not in like it was bad way. Please just watch my monthly month for indigenous peoples. So good. I loved it. Mostly, there were some stories that I was like, okay. But like, how can you compete against a 10? It's hard out here. Don't I know it? Listen, in Illinois, I'm like a solid 8 to 9. But down in Texas, the girl was a 6, okay? It's all about context. You know, that was my November. Overall, pretty good. I had a pretty good month. It started off bad, but we persevered. With December being such a holiday hub of Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa and New Year's and Yule and everything else, it doesn't really have like a month long celebration. For December, I haven't been doing like a traditional monthly month. I just got a bunch of seasonal books and I'm kind of just treating it like a Hallmark holiday. So I've started with The Afterlife of Holly Chase. Who's that by? Who's that by? Cynthia Hand. I'll give a review at the end, but the books that I decided to read for this year was obviously that one. Also, I'll Get Back to You by Becca Grishow. That one technically was a Thanksgiving book, and I was just blinded by a gay book I didn't even stop to consider that it would be Thanksgiving and not Christmas. But like, look at the cover. There's lights. There are Christmas lights up, and it's snowing. Obviously, those two things can only exist in December. Any hoozle. Also, reading Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cockrum. This has been on my TBR forever since it came out because I love gay stories. Had to get this one locked in there. And also, the book I got to pick for book club because finally I'm in charge. Christmas in Spite of You by Casey Mills. It's so cute. It's only like 250 pages. Hello, super fun, cute little book club book. That's the plan for Christmas. Reading. My Hallmark holiday of reading. I was trying to think of a theme, and I couldn't because my brain was fried from existing too hard. I was struck with genius. Like, I should have just called this Make the Yuletide Gay and just read a bunch of gay books. Ah! Oh my god. Hello? But I didn't. I'm only reading 2 canonically gay books. Rookie numbers. Boo! It also did, unfortunately, turn into a very white Christmas. Because 4 of those books are written by white people. So, again, boo! Not proud of myself. Next year, we're going to step up. We're going to do better. We're going to get gay as fuck. We're going to get merry and gay. We're going to get all shades of gay. Next year, we're going to make the Yuletide gay. Mark my words. So, that's December's plan. I'm struggling so hard to figure out what to do for next week's video. Next week is Christmas. My family is a Christmas celebrator. I don't know what to do. We will be traveling for the holidays, and so I don't really know what kind of video to put out into the world. Maybe I should just take the week off, which sucks, and I don't want to do because I do like posting consistently, but I did when I started give myself, my brain, a little rule, and I'd love to follow a rule, only having like 2 weeks off of the year, posting consistently every week, regardless, if I can, and having like 2 weeks off, so a solid 50 videos a year. That's might be what's happening. I'm trying still to figure out what kind of, I was thinking of doing a silly video, because I only have 4 categories of videos on this channel of Stab and Gab, a monthly month, Good Books, Cute Legs, Rap, and a silly one. Looking up Bookish Christmas is just like, what to get the bookish person in your life for Christmas. I'm good. I'm set. I have my wish list of books locked and loaded. I don't need a gift guide. I need creative stimulation. Chat. Also, when I say chat, I'm not referring to ChatGPT. I'm referring to you, literal human beings, in the chat down below. Help me. I'm excited to do all the January wrap-ups. We're going to do, you've been with me this whole time, spiritually, even if I haven't been filming. We're going to do a book scarf. This is my first trial run of this. Have you heard of temperature blankets? If you are on the textile side of TikTok, you have. It's where like you make a blanket for every, like, I think they do day, like the average daily weather. You do like a row for a certain color. Well, I want to do a rainbow reading scarf. I have been logging every genre into like a notes app. Like, okay, this book was horror, this book was nonfiction, this book was fantasy, this book was romance, and each genre got a different color. And then I've been also logging how long each book was by page number, and then just rounding that to the nearest 10th on either side, and then doing like, if it was 300 pages, they get 3 rows. If it was 500 pages, it gets 5 rows. If it was 251 pages, it's 3 rows. So I'm rounding up the way I was taught in elementary school to round. I'm excited. I have to go yarn shopping to get every color of the rainbow, because I have a lot of blues. I'll get yarn for like a project, and then I'll just live with that for a long time. And I'll just kind of use whatever I've had in my arsenal that I haven't been like buying without purpose. So I have to go shopping and get every color of the rainbow. Let's go over them because it's fun. Why not? We're already here. We're yapping. We're gabbing. I had to add a dystopian one because I read too many dystopian ones. So dystopian was added on later. But the original, the OGs, pink, queer, red, romance, orange, contemporary, yellow, historical, green, nonfiction, teal, sci-fi. I think that one was also added later. Blue, fantasy, purple, romantasy, which I was reading more romantasy last year, so it made sense to me to put romantasy, but that one honestly did not get a lot this year. And it also purple, red romance, blue fantasy, so purple romantasy. It worked out. Genius. Smartest girl in the world. Glitter. I wanted like a sparkly yarn for magical realism. Then I added silver slash like a gray for dystopian. And then I did put horror on here as like a burgundy. I already had red, but I wanted like a deep red for horror. I didn't read a lot of horror, but the two that I read, I was like, these can't go in any other category. So that's a lot of yarn. 3, 6, it's 11 skeins of yarn. Definitely not something I'm going to do every year. I don't need a new scarf every year. That's crazy. And I would get way too sentimental about it and way too attached, and I would not be able to let it go. So I might just do it for, what's it called? Milestone years. So it might be fun to go back and do one for the first year I ever did a Good Books Cute Legs and do like every decade just to like compare and contrast, because I think every year is excessive unless I do every year and then I sew them all into a blanket. Write that down. Write that down. I can't wait to do all of our wrap-up videos next year in January. Speaking of January, since I won't see you again probably until then, this might be our last Stabbing Gab of the year. Isn't that crazy? With January also not really having a month-long celebration, I looked it up today just to double check. It was like dry January, which like how can I celebrate that with books? I can't. And then there was a couple ones, but they were like for the UK, I think. Oh, also child trafficking and slavery awareness month, which also is important to talk about. We should be getting that list anytime soon. So I think we're all pretty aware at this point. If you're not, what the fuck are you doing? Like, genuinely, wake up. Wake the fuck up. You are too privileged to not know what's going on. And that's a shame. And you should be ashamed. And you should change that. I digress. I have been slowly collecting the oldest books on my TBR in a physical copy so that I can just read them, because they're getting lost in the sauce. They're just like, oh, that's the oldest book on my TBR. It's becoming this like elite thing that I feel like I can't touch anymore. So I'm going to shatter that. I'm going to read the oldest books on my TBR for January. That's my plan, is to start with the oldest books on my TBR and read through as many as I can for the month of January. Because I was going through my Goodreads and I was like, there's so many books on here. I need to start filtering these out. I need to start going through these. Because like who I was in 2017 when I started Goodreads is not who I am now. So like, do I really still want to read these books? And there were honestly some books on there that I'd seen and I was like, oh, that sounds important. Let me TBR it. And then I was like, hey, this is a story about a young black slave written by a white woman. What are we doing? I'm not reading that. That's crazy. It's important always to center the people that look like the person in the story. If that story is being told about a marginalized group, it's always important to center the author also being someone who looks like the person in the story. I don't want to read about slavery through the eyes of a white woman. Sue me. So I went through and I found books that didn't seem offensive and I added them to my TBR. Not offensive and still interesting. Hard bar. A lot of them didn't make the cut because they were not interesting anymore. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not reading another Not Like Other Girls dystopian trilogy. I just can't do it right now, okay? That being said, I do have many trilogies up there. I have the Furyborn trilogy and the Serpent and Dove one, and another one called Woman's War that I've never seen talked about anywhere else. Some of these, I'm like, where did I find these? How did I put these on my TBR? Anyways, that's the plan for January, since there's not really a good theme, but I have started prepping for Black History Month. I am really excited about that. And as a little spoiler, I've decided to not just do 3 books for Black History Month. Because it's the shortest month of the year, I'm going to spend the entire month reading books by Black authors and centering Black stories, because, like, you only get 28 days. That's not fair. Let's give you all 28 days. And that's the plan for February, which I'm so excited. I was researching books today, too, because February is the month of love with Valentine's Day, which I do love. Sue me. I like red roses and Valentine's Day and chocolate. I'm exactly like other girls. I was also intentionally going to read romance books that centered Black women and Black love. So that is the plan for February. So get your Black girl TBR up. We're doing it. And then we'll be in next year and we'll be doing all the things and it'll be wonderful. That was the most millennial thing I've ever said in my whole friggin' life. Honestly, I think that's all. I forgot to film the intro again. So quirky. I did not get a lot of knitting done because I was busy gabbing. I was not stabbing, too much gabbing. And I kept looking over at Stinkybutt, who is sleeping on a little self-heating mat. So it's supposed to like reflect her heat back to her because I didn't want to get her a heating pad, but it's cold and she needs to be warm. She's so cute and she's under the Christmas tree. She's my favorite present in the world. Let's go see her. Look at the angel. I've never seen an angel under the tree. They're always at the top of the tree. Well, now that I brought you back, you're in a new angle. So, anyways, that's the end of that. That's all I have to gab about. Thank you so much for being here. I truly am so grateful to even have one person watch these videos. It means the world to me to get to do this finally. So, I'm so grateful for you that you're here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you had fun. I hope that you got to work on your work in progress, even if it was you. Go read something. Forgot I can take my camera off the tripod. Hello, Angel.